Hi folks, Zach here. We're going to be going over wound packing today. The Committee on Tccc approves 3 types of hemostatic gauze: combat gauze, Celox gauze, and China gauze. Once you've identified a wound, hold pressure, direct pressure, and expose that wound. Go ahead and try to identify the major bleeder or any other bleeds within that wound. We're going to hold pressure on that wound. Open up your combat gauze, make a small ball. 1 for 1, replace the finger that's holding pressure against the bleed until you've packed that entire cavity. Again, 1 for 1, maintaining pressure while you're packing and ensuring that blood isn't seeping through or around the combat gauze as you're packing it. You're going to continue to pack, maintaining pressure the entire time you're packing. Once you've packed the entire wound, hold pressure over the wound, ensuring that blood isn't seeping around or through the combat gauze. Hold pressure for 3 minutes. Once the 3 minutes is up, and it's time for a pressure dressing.
So I'll just comment on some of the comments he made. He showed, remember what we talked about yesterday, hemostatic gauze or hemostatic packing material. So the 3 gauzes he showed were all cotton gauzes that are infused with an active ingredient that helps the body clot. More than likely y'all will not have access to that. We don't even have it on our trucks because if you got an active ingredient, there's an expiration date. So what you'll probably be using is just regular cotton gauze. The 3-minute time that he wanted you to hold pressure before you put a pressure dressing on it is the standard amount of time for those active ingredients to take effect and start working. So you want to hold pressure if you have an infused gauze for 3 minutes, because after 3 minutes that active ingredient has had enough time to either promote clotting or fail to promote clotting. And so if it's still bleeding after that 3 minutes, what you will do is you will remove that gauze and you will pack again. Okay, and we keep doing that until we get something that works. So yeah, those are just some comments that I have. Any questions on wound packing? I'm going to demonstrate it real quick.
What's the service life on the, you said they expire, is it 5 years, 10 years,
It's
1
like
year?
3. It's like 3 years they expire. Don't mind holding the equipment for that. So when he's talking about making a ball and assessing the wound, when you open up the wound, you're wanting to look for which blood vessel is going to bleed the most.
Artery.
Right, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for severed arteries. So we're looking for that pulsatile pooling blood. To do that, you may have to decontaminate the wound a little bit. So if you have extra gauze, you may get in there and kind of remove that blood so you can see the source of bleeding. Once you see the source of bleeding, you're going to immediately apply pinpoint pressure to that source. And at that point, you can make a ball with the end of your gauze like this. And when he says you're going to 1 for 1 replace gauze, this is what he means right here. We're going in with gauze, we're removing the left hand, and that's 1. And then at this point, I'm 1 for 1. And so pressure is constantly being provided by the other hand. You're never going to do this, right? Because then you have fluctuations in pressure. You always want to have, you're doing 1 for 1 because you always want pressure on that bleeder. You can, I usually pack like this with 1 hand moving the material and 1 hand providing pressure. And then you pack until the wound is completely packed, and then you hold pressure. If you have an infused gauze, you're going to hold pressure for 3 minutes. Or if you're waiting for us to get there, you're just going to hold pressure indefinitely. If you look and start to assess your wound, you know that you've controlled the bleeding if you don't have pooling blood around your gauze, And your gauze, if you lift it up just barely, if it's just pink and not soaked, you know that you've controlled the bleeding. If you start getting pooling blood from your wound and your gauze is soaked through, you're gonna remove that and you're gonna repeat the process with fresh gauze. Any questions with that?
But what if you only have one set of gauze, you're best just to
If I only
take it
have,
out and keep going?
if I only have one set of gauze, I will probably, depending on where I am, this is either, I guess this is an arm. If I only have one set of gauze, I'd probably do something like this. And so my knee is gonna be in this area right here where you have an artery that runs just under the clavicle. So I'm gonna put my knee into that patient's shoulder to try to clamp that artery before it gets to the wound, and I'm still gonna be applying pressure right here. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna get another knee in it, and just keep going. Take a shirt off. Most shirts are made of cotton. Take a shirt off, have somebody cut it up, rip it into pieces, and get something fresh in there. But never stop. Does that make sense? Any questions? All right. We're gonna take a quick break so I can set up the funnest part of the class. So take like 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm gonna get this set up. So we'll go, make it back here about 2040. Okay, so how this is gonna work is 2 people. There's 4 stations out there. You'll see it when you go out there. Number 1 is everybody will be gloved up. The stuff has been contaminated with pork. We're using, I think it's ham, was it ham? We're using pork butts for you to pack. So everything's got pork all over it. So before you go out, just please put some gloves on. And you can keep those gloves on for the entirety of the exercise. There'll be 4 stations. First person out, if you would, grab the bag. There will be bags of fluid next to the station. So the first 4 people out, if you would, please grab the fluid and just kind of hold it up with gravity. And then the second person is going to help me simulate an arterial bleed. So if I could get 4 volunteers to go ahead and come forward, glove up, and go outside and wait for me. So let's get 2 at each station, and just leave this stuff on the ground for now.
You'll move this one in the dry. You'll move this one in the dry.
We need 2 more people.
Grease and gloves, Kyle.
I got some. Kyle's on the special basis.
2 more.
2 more people. Is that what you need?
10 more.
Need 1 more person.
Big. There. Big.
Open the door. Shut on. Before the person started. Set them in front of me. Hey guys, if y'all would gather around over here. Go ahead and grab the bag there, Walt. Okay, so what we have is a catheter in the meat. We have a bag simulating blood. What I'm going to do is going to come by and I'm going to cut down into the meat until I reach the catheter. This is going to simulate kind of like a knife wound. Alright, and so at this point, we have a pretty good wound. The second person, go ahead and, so the second person is going to be on the plunger, and what they're going to do is pulsate. You see that pulsating right there? And what that's doing is we're just trying to simulate an artery. Okay? So the first person will hold up the bag, the second person will just provide some pulsation, and then the packer will have to come in and clear out and actually have to pack the wound or two. So good exercise. So, yeah. Just go ahead and clamp off that. Just want to train you guys up real quick, make sure we do it right. And the way this will work is y'all can go ahead and hold your bags up and get in position, and I'll go ahead and get our first people out here. All right, first floor. Pretty cool, right?
Last time they used blue color, and then stand the camera and work the next thing.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know. I was like, you don't pay the whole one. What are you doing? It's love.
The other night I was trying to floss my nerves, doing these little exercises. If you that don't see these, Carol thought I was getting into that heat.
Alright, where's my first four packers? Alright, if my packers would go ahead and step in front of your meat. We're going to use, when I come across and cut. Go ahead. Oh, that's my bad.
All right, I'm good with packers.
Yeah, I had it on the table.
Take that car hard off. Oh, this thing costs something. Everything else. Don't matter, Daddy will buy you another one. I'll buy another for me.
I know, I hate to see it laying there on the ground. No kidding.
Hey, you can take it home when you want to get done. You cook if you want to.
Hey, fingerized. What do they call it? Pre-fingered?
Alright guys, so we're going to utilize the packing technique that we saw in the video. You're going to pack, I'm going to come by and cut your meat, and then when I say go, you're going to pack for 45 seconds utilizing that technique, and then we'll stop and I'll come by and stretch your work as you're holding pressure. And we'll answer any questions from there, okay? Alright, go ahead.
Tyler was just getting started.
And I think Emerson just run clean legs. That's first time.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, go ahead and stop packing. Go ahead and put on pressure. Guys, if you'll go ahead and lay that bag on the ground and stop the flow of blood. And if this were hemostatic gauze or an infused gauze, how long are we going to hold pressure before we reassess if we're bleeding or not? 3 minutes. That's exactly right.
Big dead.
Good. All right, go ahead and pull your gauze out. Pull your gauze out, and if you didn't use all of it, go ahead and rip what you did use from what you didn't use.
That's ripping. It ain't ripping.
I didn't stop. Hey, stations, raise your hand if you have leftover gauze. Okay, just put it beside the me. That way we can reutilize that gauze. And raise your hand if you need more gauze. I'll do what now?
I'll say it late.
Alright guys, if you have used gauze, just place it on the grass for now, and I'll come by and pick it up later.
Okay.
Alright, let me get my next 4 packers. Sir, if you'll get right here, and you over there, and just go on down the line. Alright, bags, go ahead and raise them. And go.
Stick it in there.
Stick it in there now. The best part about the video is you and his truck just out here walking in blood.
And stop. I got it. Alright. You saved him.
I saved that log over there.
Alright, so if this was an infused gauze, how long are we going to hold pressure before we reassess if it's bleeding or not? How long are we going to give that active ingredient to work? 3 minutes. That's exactly right. Now, if it's just a regular gauze, after 3 minutes, we're gonna reassess if it's bleeding or not. How do we know if it's rebleeding? Blood pooling. And what are we gonna do if it's not working? Take it out and start over. That's exactly right. Okay, go ahead and pull the gauze out that you have in. If you have leftover gauze, go ahead and cut the used gauze from the good gauze and place the good gauze down at the station. We'll reuse it. All right. All right, let me get 4 more packers, and I think we're going to have to start rotating you guys out of the assisting roles. So if the plungers will go ahead and put gloves on and move to the packing position. And then the people lifting the bag, if you guys just want to go ahead and plunge. And let me get 4 who have already packed. You guys are going to go and lift up the bag when we start packing.
You can do it. We got more gold. Yeah. You guys in a heartbeat, we're gonna make it work. The whole thing. I won't make that thing. You hadn't packed yet. Never seen one. Yeah. You ain't never seen one, dude. Well, I'm out there.
Yeah. It's easy. All you gotta do is hold the bag.
Never had that problem.
They said people swap up. I don't know if you can.
All right, and we're going to pack for 45 seconds. Once I say go, go ahead and lift the bags and go.
They might not buy a nice quad nut with it. Oh, somebody's fucking crap.
All right, how do y'all do?
Free bleeder. What?
I done packed it.
You ought to go.
I just thought the bleeding more. them bleeding it up.
Okay, go ahead and stop if you haven't already. All right, if we're dealing with a infused gauze, how long are we going to hold pressure? 3 minutes. 3 minutes? And then what are we going to do? We're going to reassess, and we're reassessing for what?
Look at that water. Bleeding out. Packed her up.
That's right. What are we going to see if the packing gauze isn't working? That's right, pulling blood. Okay, go ahead and pull your gauze out. Go ahead and separate it from any unused gauze. If all of it's used, just go ahead and place it out here on the grass. I'll pick it up later. Who hasn't packed yet? Let's go ahead and rotate positions and get some fresh packers in there.
Was it bleeding still?
Who did I swing stuff off? Me.
That's up to you. I sewed it back together.
You done it? Okay, good. No, we'll get that. We'll bring the meat to you. All y'all done? Everybody done? You done? Oh, we're gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna make that thing do things.
All right, all stations ready? And go ahead and start.
You got it on something?
This was all watered down. Don't worry about it, dude. Don't worry about it. Just back that hole.
No one's ever gave Tyler that compliment.
I don't wear the thing out.
You'll never hear that again, Tyler, I promise. Oh, she's coming out.
So this is what mine was doing a while ago. I was just packing in the thing in the wood.
They do a lot of fishing. Yes. Montana.
All right, go ahead and stop. How long are we going to wait before we reassess? 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And what are we reassessing for? That's right. How do we know that our packing has been effective?
No pull.
No puddles of blood.
No bleeding.
Yep, no pulling blood, and we still have white on our gauze. It's not soaked through. And as we sort of lift up on our gauze on the edges, we just get that light pink color.
I was going down on it. I'm like, well,
Has anybody not packed yet? All right. So go ahead and get it together.
You know what's bad for him is? He never actually got it in the hole. He shoved the hole on the outside. Because I was watching you.
Don't ask me this on the truck.
Sometimes I'm watching.
Just keep going, Ryan. Just keep going. He's gonna ask you on the truck, are you ready for me to go?
Oh yeah, you got it out of good man.
I got out of the hole.
For you, yeah, that's right. But how they do it is
Back in that time, you can have like
That's right, that's right.
I'm fine with it. And I think Joey's
You gonna stop that blood flow or not?
Oh, you professional.
To be a trained professional, you're really not. That's great. Yes, sir.
We all do. Don't bring the church. Number on your
He's just a part-timer now.
Yeah, I'm part-time. We can tell. Yeah.
Going all the way down.
Hold pressure 3 minutes.
We'll see if it's 25, 30.
That's how fast.
kinda fell off up there.
On MRI.
Was that maybe off?
Fell off. Ain't had nothing. That's the thing. Feel like
You can
that.
hear the elbow press conference. You don't have the confidence.
You been back at some more?
I got to do it in school, right?
Huh?
You never got to do it in school, right?
This happened back when
He gets school right now.
Oh, take it out. I know, yeah. My bad. I got a lot in there.
Either fresh active ingredient in there or fresh material.
It makes you, you let go
And guys, at this point, if you are packing and nothing seems to be working, utilize your resources. There's like 30 knees out here. So as you're packing, somebody can have a knee and assist you in doing that. So you can focus on packing. They can have a knee in that guy's chest, helping you to control the bleeding by pressure. Okay. That kind of light pink, you got kind of have some white. All right, guys, you can go ahead and take your gloves off. Just go ahead and you can drop them on the ground. I'm going to come by with a trash bag and clean all this mess up after class is over. Be careful of your shoes. If you stepped in the pork juice, we'll go ahead and do a wrap up real quick. We're gonna go out to his farm, shoot that thing. I expect y'all to keep alive. Let's go to the jail. You pass something away, you lost. Keep alive. Is everybody inside? Okay, guys, any questions? So I realized that there was a big, there was a disproportionate amount of massive hemorrhage training, and that's on purpose, because massive hemorrhage is something that if they don't have a surgeon, the stuff we're going to do pre-hospital for these people is very basic, and everybody can do it. Tourniquet application, wound packing, pressure dressing. Massive hemorrhage kills the fastest, and it's, I would say, if it's in the right place, one of the easiest things, one of the most preventable causes of traumatic death is massive hemorrhage, especially when we talk about active shooter situations. Okay, and that's why there was a disproportionate amount of training on it. It's that important. And honestly, if you look at the time, you know, there's not going to be nobody on the scene saying, "Okay, that was 45 seconds. Stop." You're going to be packing that wound. So the odds are that you're going to be still going to be controlling massive hemorrhage when EMS arrives. That's why it's one of the things. It's a first responders forte. It's y'all's It's one of the two things that I expect from a good first responder is early CPR and hemorrhage control. It's the biggest things you guys bring to the table. Really, early CPR and defibrillation have been, those are the only two things that have been proven to improve cardiac arrest survival. Massive hemorrhage. It's easy for you guys to fix, you can do it, and if you fix it, you save lives. So you guys getting there first and doing those two things is extremely important. So that's why we focus the majority of our time on massive hemorrhage. Do I have any questions? I realize we didn't do a culminating scenario. That's my fault. Didn't plan enough time to do it. I'm sure we'll be doing another class like this if y'all want it. Clayton knows he can call me, and we can even, if y'all wanted to schedule a day to just do a culminating scenario, I would absolutely be okay with doing that. That way you get to put all the pieces together. Like I said, the Deployed Medicine app is completely free. You can access it online, on a computer, on iPhone, on Android. It's available to all platforms and it's free. All you have to do is create a user account and you have access to all the videos that we've seen tonight. Anybody learn anything?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. I think you did a good job.
Good. And that's what matters. So, if y'all don't have any questions, I'm done with you.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yep, absolutely.
You do, and, for y'all that don't know it, cameras took over the first responders